All right, what's going on, guys? So today we're gonna go ahead and cover the turbo kit install for a 2006 to 2011 Honda Civic Si. Okay, there's a lot to cover when it comes to this turbo kit because there's a lot that comes with it, and there's a lot of things that you need to understand before even placing an order for this turbo kit. Okay. So the very first thing is going to be, these kits are really focused towards a K24 setup, as in the K20, it sits a little bit higher, a little bit lower. So you can see here how low we're actually there. So I'll cover more about that, but I do want to make sure I mention that. Now, it does fit the K20, but things are just a little bit more tighter, being with the K24 that is taller. Okay, so we're just gonna start from the beginning. We're gonna start with the intercooler piping, and then we're gonna move on to the other things and go ahead and mention. But the very first thing that you need to understand is the battery must be relocated. Okay, you can do it with the kit that I offer, or you can make your own stuff, but the stock battery cannot stay in the stock location, as it will not clear the intercooler piping. So you see how it's designed here. Okay, it just will not work. So you need to understand that in the very beginning, that the battery cannot stay in the stock location, okay, whatsoever. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start with the intercooler piping and the intercooler, how they properly mounted right here. And then you can see here, it literally just bolts up there. Everything is slotted, so you're able to move it left or right as you wish, okay? And then I'll have another video that I'll put on that we will put in the intercooler piping. That is super easy, how we did that. All right, guys, so as you can see here, we're mounting the intercooler brackets, and it's very simple. There's 2 bolts on each side, and I will say though, leave everything loose. Don't fully tight everything, as the whole process of installing the intercooler and the intercooler piping, you want everything to leave loose because things are going to need to shift a little bit. But you can see here, we already mounted the intercooler, and we're going to be moving on to the intercooler piping. And again, don't fully tighten all the clamps down. I was mentioning, you will need to shift everything. All right, so you guys saw us already mount the intercooler brackets, and over here we're working on the intercooler piping. And one of the things that is very critical to add is going to be the intake temp sensor. When you go turbo, you have to delete the math, okay, and you have to add an intake temp sensor from the Acura RSX. You can find this, literally I got mine on Amazon for like $8. I'm not gonna supply it because it's just not. It's just that simple piece you can get anywhere. It's the Acura RSX from 2002 to 2006 intake temp sensor. Okay, so very simple. You want to make sure this has Teflon tape. Make sure it has the O-ring there, because if not, you're gonna have a leak. And it's very simple. As of right now, the kits are coming with the bung like this. We are gonna change it to a little different style, but it's gonna be the same concept as what's doing here. Is pretty much holding the sensor in place. So you can see here the way it's designed. It's a 3-piece, so it has a little collar piece. So with that being said, you see how it has the little fins right there. At least with this kit right now, we have to shave those little fins right here, otherwise it does not go in. You can see here, it will stop it. You can see, no matter what you do, you're not gonna push it through. So we're gonna go ahead and cut those with a blade, and you'll see it slide right in. Let me record it, that way you guys can see it. I wasn't gonna record it, but you guys can see here, it's just cutting it with the blade, making sure it's flat. And yeah, because it has to be done, otherwise it's just not. So he already got the sensor on it, and let me show you guys real quick how it's supposed to go. So the ring is gonna sit there, right there. So go ahead and slide it on top. It's gonna go ahead and put it right on here. Show you how easy it is done. All right, and once again, make sure you have Teflon tape there on the other part, otherwise it will leak. You do not need Teflon tape on this part right here, on that one right there. So go ahead, and then also the kit comes with a MAF to intake temp sensor harness, and show you how easy that plugs in. Bam, there you go. It's that easy. Okay, do want to say this, if you do switch it over, your tune will kind of be thrown off because your car's used to running on the math, so now it's running on the intake temp sensor. So that's something, if your tuner already knows, trust me, they will take care of it, but you do have to let them know that you are switching over to a intake temp sensor from the Acura RSX. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. We're gonna go ahead and put the blowoff valve. Now the blowoff valve, it's very simple, but you just gotta be careful when installing the O-ring. That's probably the most critical part. And also we're gonna show you a couple of things right here with, we're gonna switch this out because it comes with the kit. You guys will see here in a second. So don't even put it back on, Pablo. No, you'll see what I got you now. Something a little nicer that comes with the kit. You know what I'm talking about. Push fittings. Yeah, push lock fittings. So watch him here put the O-ring. It is a little tricky, and you guys can see how it is. So we're gonna go ahead and help him out, hold it over here, and then have him put the blowoff valve on. All right, there you go. Look at that. So get the clamp, and we go from there. All right, there we go. We got the blowoff valve on. That easy, but we'll wait till we do the push lock fittings all the way in, because we still have to show it on the wastegate and other stuff as well. We'll say when you install everything, don't tighten everything down, as we didn't tighten everything down till we're pretty much fully done. And another thing that we're gonna go ahead and cover right here about the intercooler piping, as you can see how we did the intercooler this way. Normally is that coupler's over here and that coupler's over there. The reason we did it that way is for to clear the fog light, as in if you have the stock bumper, you don't have like a conversion like the FD2 conversion, it will hit here if you have the OEM one. So we ended up doing it like this in order for the fog light to come through here and it doesn't hit. Okay, so moving on with the intercooler piping, one thing that you have to do, okay, and that's going to be required to trim. Let me see how much I can really get in here. So there's this bracket here, okay, you can barely see there. You are going to require to trim that, okay, with a grinder in order for the piping to sit there very close. Let me see if I get a better look over here, but you can see here, let me see, you can see how close that is. So you want to be able to shave that. We shaved it just a little bit, and then see the piping comes up this way, and then the other thing we ended up shaving, which requires, you can see here how close it is to the actual ECU. So we ended up shaving a little tiny bracket right there in order for the piping to clear perfect without having it to rub on that. So that's very simple, as in that's being installed. And you'll see the other video that I put there, what we ended up doing with the blowoff valve and also the intake temp sensor. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next thing. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on with the turbo manifold and the downpipe. Now that is a very tight fitment, and what we ended up doing is we put the manifold on with the wastegate and the dump tube, and then what we did, we removed the turbo. We didn't put the turbo, we had the turbo on, we removed it in order to get the downpipe to fit, otherwise it will not fit. Okay, so you want to have the turbo off and then slide the downpipe down, and I'm gonna show you underneath the car, and then connect the two pieces together. That's the only way to make it all work, otherwise it will not work. So I know this is not part of the kit, but he wants to go ahead and wrap his exhaust. So quickly show you guys the downpipe, and we're only gonna do the downpipe and not the dump tube, as I wouldn't suggest to do the dump tube. It really doesn't see that much exhaust. I mean, really the exhaust is the one doing all the heat. So you can see how it looks here, and we'll show you how it looks on the car after, but we're gonna go ahead and wrap it and keep going. So one of the things that you guys need to be aware of in order to run this turbo kit, you are gonna have to have an aftermarket water neck. And what I can say, there's so many out there, so just do your research, but you are gonna have to run an aftermarket water neck here. Either you have the stock K20 Z3 or you have a K24, you are going to need it. Now with the heater lines, you can see here I do sell a heater kit. You do not have to buy my kit, but you can make your own stuff if needed. But it is very difficult to keep heater and go with a big turbo like this setup. So do be mindful. So what we're doing right now, because we don't want to throw on the manifold and throw everything on and then find out we have a leak. what we're gonna do right now, we're just gonna turn the car on, let the system, you know, circulate, make sure we have no leak, and then obviously after we're gonna go ahead and throw everything on, that we know that at least the cooling is not gonna give us an issue there. So there you go. Right now, so we went ahead and took off the oil pan. Well, Pablo did. And we're gonna show you little quicks and tips to take it off, because it is definitely tricky. It takes a lot of time, and but you don't have to drop your whole subframe in order to do this. So hopefully you watch it. I highly suggest it to do it with the oil pan that comes with the kit. Okay, do not run the one that people put here on your timing cover. And I say that because the kit already comes with the oil pan, okay? So don't do that one, because what's happening is the oil is back into your turbo. So just don't. The kit already comes with the oil pan already, with the bung welded on. So Paolo, you want to explain here a thing or two? You want to help me out? Because you're the one that... So you want to loosen up all the subframe bolts, right?
Remove these two.
The ones on this side, the passenger side?
Take those out. This one right here. That way the subframe can lower.
Okay. All right, let me pause. All right, go ahead.
You gotta remove the bolts from both sides.
From both sides, and this side too? Oh yeah, you did. I see that. Okay.
Then this one, you take them out.
Okay.
And then this one, you just loosen.
And then the back one too?
And the back one too.
So you don't want to take this out all the way, because then you're gonna... Yeah. So, and also what we're doing is, while he was doing that, I was helping him push. As you can see here, it moves down. That way he's able to take the oil pan out easier. You don't want to remove the subframe, because he can throw your alignment off, and this is probably the easiest way to do it. And like I said, the kit comes with the oil pan already tapped in, ready to go. It's pretty much the same thing like this, an aluminum oil pan. So very simple. So we're gonna go ahead and put that one on. We already took the header off, downpipe right here. So we're pretty much ready to go and move on forward. It just takes a little while, you know, to get this stuff all taken apart. Definitely take your time taking the oil pan off, because there's some random bolts that we were missing, and we were like kind of fighting the oil pan off. So it definitely make sure you go over. If it's not coming off, it's because you most likely missed a bolt there, because there's a lot of them. So we're gonna go ahead and put some Honda Bond on here, clean it all up, and we're gonna go ahead and seal it. While Pablo's cleaning here the silicone, we're gonna go ahead and put the feed line for the turbo, and that's gonna be that thing right there. We're gonna go ahead and remove it, and I'm gonna show you what exactly is gonna go there. We're gonna go ahead and be putting this, and you're gonna see here in a second how exactly all gonna work. You gotta make sure you have some Teflon here, okay? If you do not have Teflon, it will leak. Believe me, okay? So we took off the OEM oil pressure switch. This is a 24, okay? Just took it off. We're gonna go ahead and put the other piece and show you how it's gonna all look like. We're gonna go ahead and show you how I finished the oil feed line. I just sprayed some brake cleaner here. Want to be able to keep an eye, make sure it's not leaking. If it is leaking, honestly, I would say to use Honda Bond and all the threads here, except the one here, okay? You do not want to put anything here, as that's going to be the feed for your turbo, and you don't want to clog anything. And you also don't put anything on this one, okay? These are all like they have a taper in there that is meant for them not to have any sort of silicone or Teflons, okay? So do keep that in mind. If you do put some of that, I had a friend of mine which he messed up his turbo, okay? That's simple. So you can see how we did it. I put this piece first, then I put this one, okay? Take your time, and then the last one was this one right here, okay? And you can see I still have the wire there to be able to read for his computer, and we're gonna go ahead and feed it up. Now you can run it down on my car specifically. I have it running this way and up to the turbo. That's really your choice. We're gonna go ahead and run it up on this one. The line is long enough to do either or, but quickly, you know, go over and show you how it's done. Now, Pablo is working on the oil pan, and this is something that I do want you to keep in mind, that the dowel pins, this one specifically stayed on the motor. The new oil pan does come with new dowel pins, so we went to put it on, and he realized that he didn't take them off, and we still have this ones over here. So we just took the ones off the oil pan, and we're gonna go ahead and now throw it on the car, and we're pretty much good to go. And that's done. Throw the header, throw the turbo, and start finalizing, but we're almost there. We just put the oil pan back on. The one that's, you can see, already has the logo there. It has the bung there. And Paulo's over here trying to put the last bolt. So we're gonna go ahead and finish that off. And then put the manifold on, the turbo, and show you that real quick. Well, we're pretty much there. The hardest part is really the oil pan. That's gonna be the hardest part. It's definitely getting that oil pan on there, because as you can see, it is a lot of work in order to swap it out. If this was EK, this is a 10-minute job, but being in HN or RS6 on 9th gen, it is a big task. So we got here the wastegate. So they already come with a 16-pound spring pre-installed, and that's not what we're looking for. As you can see here, pre-installed 16-pound. Okay, what we're gonna look for, we're gonna try to put an 8-pound spring here, and that will get us about 400 horsepower, and then after we can use a boost controller. Okay, if you don't know anything about it, talk to your tuner. He'll recommend you what spring do you want. You don't want to go nothing crazy unless you're gonna make a lot of power, because the lowest you're gonna be able to make is gonna be whatever spring you put in here. And then you can, you know, depending if you have a 3-port or 4-port, you can triple that amount. So let's say you put a 10-pound spring and you put a 3-port boost controller, you can go up to 30 pounds, okay? And then with a 4-port, you can go close to 40, okay? So it just depends. Every tuner is gonna be slightly a little different. My tuner, they like 3-port. It's not so sensitive versus the 4-port. Again, that's just gonna be depending on what you want. So what we're gonna look here, you see we have a chart, and we have a 7-pound, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna put a 5 and 3. That's gonna equals to 8 pounds, which is, you can see we have a 60mm gate. Okay, so depending on the gate that you have, that's what you're gonna be choosing. So we need a red and a yellow. Okay, you can see that, and that's what we're gonna be putting here, and that's what's gonna get us to the 8 pounds. Okay, so if not, we can probably do 10. I know somebody made close to on 12 pounds they made 500, but that's 500 on every gear. So that's the problem with that. So you want to be able to, you know, set your goal for what you want. And these things don't really creep, being such a big wastegate. If they ever creep, it's maybe 1 or half a pound. So do be aware of that. But it really does not happen with a 60-pound spring, okay? With 60mm gate. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and let's say we throw an 8. Or if we not, we can just do a green and a red. Let me see, which that might be just at 10. So what we're trying to do is trying to be something like this, and that'll get us, no, it'll be this and this, so we can inside of it, so we can close it, and that'll get us to 10 pounds, which is a 7, which is the green one, and then red, which is 3 pounds, and that'll get us to 10 pounds. You probably make a little bit over 4 something, which that was you already making with the supercharger in every gear. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that might be something that you want to definitely run at. So we're gonna go ahead and just run that, because we want to be able to keep the springs like this, so we can compress it down. So you can see that. So the stiffer the spring you go, the more boost you're gonna make. So definitely keep these things And then we're gonna also show you here where to port for your backing lamps. As you can see here, already comes with it. It tells you for air and then for water. Nobody really runs water, even on my 1500 horsepower RSX. I don't run water, okay? So just, you can just leave those opens. It does not do anything, okay? Because where the air travels, that's where it just picks up and go. So you guys can see here. So we're gonna go ahead and confirm that, and then make sure we put the fittings in the right location, because it's very important. If you put them in the wrong spot, your tune is probably gonna slap you in the head. That happened to me. So we got it all situated. Please watch this part. I hope you paying attention to this. It's very important, and this is probably one of the most questions I get asked on a daily basis. And it's gonna be with this ring right here, and I'll show you exactly the other parts here in a second. And it's gonna be this ring right here. Everybody goes crazy when they see this and it doesn't sit flush, okay? Depending on the size of the spring you have, it's gonna be a little bit stiffer to push down, okay? You can maybe hear it, okay? That's gonna sit against that, and you have to push it in, and then the clamp is gonna do the rest of the work, okay? All right, there's other two clamps. We're not gonna use them. You only use them if you were to build your own manifold. As you can see here, that's how it would work. Or if you were to build your own dump tube, that's it would work for here. But in this case, you're getting everything already, okay? Don't mind, my hands are dirty. We're working, okay? So with that being said, just relax. We're gonna put this on. Don't go crazy. It sits like that. It is meant to sit like that. So once it sits against the manifold, it will sit nice and flush. Okay, next step, okay? The kit will come with push-like fittings, just like this. It will come with 4, okay? 2 for here, 1 for the blow-off valve, and just another spare one. You can just have it, okay? So what we have done here, we have blocked off here, okay? And that's the one for the water. You wanna bring the light here, Pablo, a little bit? You can see here, it has a tiny, let me get it focused. Let me focus here, you can see. So we blocked off that one. We kept this one and this one for the air, okay? And then we have blocked all those 3 right there. You can see here how it looks, okay? You wanna be able to replicate that. And make sure you use Teflon tape, okay? It is cheap, you can buy it anywhere. If you do that, if you just put them like this, it will create a leak. And over time, it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse, okay? So very important to use Teflon tape. We're gonna go ahead and put it against the manifold, tighten that up. What I like to do, I just like to tighten it just a little bit. And then I'll put the manifold on the car, put the wastegate, like the dump tube. And then once I like where everything is positioned, then I'll tighten everything. So don't go ham, tighten that up, because you're gonna have to move it and position it where you want it to be. But like I said, this is very important for you to understand that you can see how it sits, that it's normal, okay? All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put it on the manifold, put the turbo on, and just keep the extra springs. They're expensive to buy them separately, so just keep them somewhere. If you ever want to turn off the car, at least you know you have them. Save the little paper, that way you know what springs, what size they're meant for, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and it even tells you the instructions here, okay? Which ones pretty much are water and which ones you pretty much will need to block off and need to make it happen, okay? This thing will focus. I'm over here just talking, okay? You can see here. All right. This is what I was talking about. I get everybody that email me and goes pretty much crazy because they don't know why this is happening. And you can see here what you're gonna need 2 people. So you can see what will happen is when you push, you can see, and you're gonna need somebody else to go ahead and put the clamp. But my buddy's holding the camera here, so we're gonna do it off camera, but that's pretty much what you're gonna be doing here, okay? All right, guys, so we got the turbo on. Just do be mindful, it does come with titanium studs, as you see there, okay? One of the things that you need to do is loosen up all of the 13 millimeters, because you have to clock the turbo, okay? As you see how we have it here. So one of the things that is very important, and I say this because my friend put Teflon tape on this. Do not put Teflon tape. As you can see here, this has a barb. The way it is designed is to not have any Teflon. So you want to go ahead and put this on there like so, and go ahead and tighten it, and don't put any Teflon, okay? just go ahead and tighten that. And then we're gonna put at the bottom, we're gonna put the flange that comes here. Okay, you don't have to put any silicone or anything. It already has the piece right here for it. So you want to make sure you have the, you want to help me flip it? Let me see. All right, you can see here. All right, that's simple. Check it out. So this will go there straight to the bottom, just like that. That easy. All those bolts right there, look, right inside. So I was looking for it. All right, so just like so. So you got to make sure the turbo's clocking this way, and then that should be it. We're able to turn it on. This is still loose. This is still loose, as we want to be able to, you know, clock it in for the intercooler piping. As you can see, we all still have all that loose, as we are trying to have everything not fully tight until we're ready to pretty much be done, and then we'll go ahead and button everything up so you can see. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and finish putting this on and update you after that. All right, guys, so it's the next day. Yeah, I know we stayed up late yesterday. We pretty much got everything finished up, and we put in the downpipe on. And this is something, you know, being the K24 and everything's just stupid tight. What we have done here, we have taken off the turbo and slide down the downpipe in order to get a downpipe to fit. Otherwise, it's just not gonna fit like that. So what I also have done here, I have put the dump tube there. So we're gonna go underneath here and show you, before it gets a little dark once again, what we have done here and how everything's gonna work, so you guys can see it. All right, let's see if everything will focus here. So what I have done, we have put the dump tube and the wastegate, all right, and then the last thing did, we put the exhaust, which is the full downpipe, and the downpipe goes all the way over here and it ends right there. So the downpipe does come with another B-band clamp, okay, and then now you can attach it here and just make that last little piece. But as you can see here, how everything is fitting, and we weigh it as tight as we can because it's just kind of how Pablo wants it. And as well, we want to be able to clear our heater lines, and you can see here how they're fully wrapped. Okay, so it is definitely a lot, and we're pretty much done. And what we also did here, we flipped the intercooler because he has the OEM bumper. If you have an FD2 bumper, you can flip it the other way and it will clear perfectly. But with this bumper, the way the fog light setup is, you have to flip this to be like this. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention, and that is going to be with the intercooler, well, you have to shave this part right here. As you can see here, it's already hidden there just a little bit, and we have to shave a little bit more. But you can see here, you have to shave that in order for it not to hit. Okay, so you know, you get the little grinder and just shape it up. And this is something that I go ahead and cover as well, and I left that there so you guys can see it, and you can see the other part that we shaved off there. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and pretty much finish buttoning everything up and ready to go. All right, so the next thing is gonna be about the engine harness. So you can see here, Pablo already has one of my Tuck engine harness, and this is pretty much you can say an aftermarket, but it's an OEM replacement harness. So the stock harness will not work here. It will be very tight. You will need to relume it and make it all work. And with that being said there as well, the stock water neck will not work there for you. You will have to get an aftermarket water neck. And there's a lot of options there. Personally, I like using the K2 one, but like I said, there's a lot of options. Do your research before you buy one, because there's just a ton of options. All right, the next thing is gonna be the heater, okay? You can keep heater with this kit, but it's, again, things are very tight. There's a reason why a lot of people don't like modifying them as much, is being that everything is very, very, very tight. So we were able to keep heater, but I know you're not going to be able to see much. We're probably going to have to go underneath, but that's kind of pretty much going to cover some of the basics here. And I did a full install video of everything. That's including the blow-off valve, the the wastegate, showing you what you need to cover and what ports need to be open in order to get them to come out through your boost controller. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and attach everything so you guys can watch it. You guys can see here barely on the heater there, but that's pretty much one of the basic things that you need to pretty much understand from the very beginning. And I'll put the clips there as we were working on the car, but you know, you need to understand some of these first things in order to know what you're going to get yourself into. And I'll definitely suggest to do it with 2 people. Doing it by yourself, it is going to be a big task. So definitely have a buddy help you install the kit, as there is a lot of stuff that you need somebody else holding things and, you know, just getting everything all around prepped up. But we're going to go ahead and add the other clips here and show you guys what we all did. Now, one of the things that's not necessary but is definitely useful is a cash can, and this is one of the cash cans that I sell here. It's a cash can built here with an overflow tank. So the overflow tank is usually the little piece here, the little plastic bottle. So that's all built in one. You can see here, there's the hose right there that comes around and comes over here. Okay, not necessary, but it's definitely recommended to buy a cash can. You do not have to buy my setup. I'm not trying to sell you on that, but I'm just letting you know that it's an option there that, you know, it's not needed, but it's definitely recommended to have. Okay, so go ahead and add the other clips, and we'll go from there and show you guys how everything was installed on the car and cover everything. And before that, let me go ahead and start the car, show you how the car sounds, and yeah, let's finish that up first. All right, here we go. You guys can hear it.